We've also got Mr. Bimal Jalan, former Reserve Bank Governor, one of our time's best economists joining us. Mr. Jalan, pleasure to talk to you as always. One of the legacies that this government will have to tackle is the twin deficits.
Thank you. Thank you.
One of the deficits is the twin deficits. Can it tackle the deficit without crimping growth? Or is that inevitable that we will have to experience a short-term pain as far as growth is concerned?
No. So far as the twin deficits are concerned, I presume you are referring to the budget deficit, the fiscal deficit and the trade deficit.
That's right.
They are under control anyway. So, I mean, to begin with, I mean, the previous government has done a great job, I mean, the finance minister, of trying to contain these two deficits, and that they are contained as of now. So I don't think that's the obstacle in trying to do what needs to be done in the future.
Is the fiscal deficit entirely under control, you would say?
Is that clear?
Yes. Is the fiscal deficit entirely under control?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's good news. So then the government can go ahead with
as of now, I mean, we are more or less on the... Yeah, exactly. I mean, there is no problem. I mean, it's a matter of policy and it's a matter of getting the investments done. It's a matter of reducing corruption. It's a matter of reducing diversion. It's a matter of reducing interministerial, kind of divisions which a coalition government had. I mean, so you have an extremely good what you might say, the beginning, as it were.
So you're saying
a lot needs to be done.
So you're saying that as long as we get our governance right, the trajectory on deficit that we've seen in the last couple of months will continue, and we'll ultimately settle at very, very acceptable levels.
No, absolutely. I mean, there is no doubt. I mean, our savings rates are high. I mean, there is no problem. And there is no reason why India should not be growing at the kind of rate of growth that we had seen earlier. And 7-8%, I mean, on a long-term basis. And the fact that you are going to have a stable government, and the fact that so-called coalitions of politics, which caused all kinds of policy stasis or all kinds of confusion in the minds of people, reversal of policies that were announced on retail trade, for example, multi-retail trade, or retrospective taxation, introduction of retrospective, then reverse it, and so on. That's not governance. So today you have the facility, and this is the main challenge before the government, is how to improve governance. And you can't improve governance without doing a lot on very difficult tasks, by the way. It's not only a question of passing resolutions. It's a question, you have 77 ministries. Now name another democracy like ours which has 77 or 76 ministries. Why do you need so many ministries? Now you can say that we are coalitions, compulsions of coalition, every party has to be represented and so on and so forth. But to begin with, these are not the issues that we need to tackle anymore.
Okay,
but if you get confined to the old practices, then I don't think you will...
And Mr. Modi is someone who's known to have to be a votary of lean government. Do you see these? Mr. Modi is known as someone to be a votary of a lean government. Do you see these 77 ministries being trimmed, sir, that now that he has an absolute majority?
No, I think that it's not a question of the individual. It's the question of whoever is in power and whoever enjoys the majority has the responsibility to the people of India to make sure that governance improves. I mean, we are, after a quarter of a century, after 1989, you've heard a lot about compulsions of coalitions, you've heard a lot about different ministers talking differently, there is no collective responsibility, there is no responsibility to Parliament, and all kinds of things. So it's not a question of the person who is in power, it's a question of that for the first time after a quarter of a century, we have a stable sort of at least expectations of a stable government. We have a government which enjoys a majority without so-called compulsions of coalitions. And this is a great opportunity for us to get things done. And it's not a question of growth. It's mainly a question of public delivery. You have how many schemes? 100 schemes to benefit the poor, and yet the poverty levels are not going down as fast as growth. So, all these things need to be done, have to be taken a look at, and your administration has to be trimmed, administrative hierarchy has to be trimmed. It's both, 7 ministries are involved in anything you want to do. I mean, if you want to set up a sports facility for rural women, you know how many ministries will be involved as of now? At least 6. Do you need that sort of thing?
Yeah. Mr. Chatterjee, do you expect...
Clean up. This is my main message to you.
Okay, clean up.
And, I wanted your thoughts on the rupee. We've come a long way from, those levels of 68, etc. last year, now sitting at about 58 to the dollar. Because of the expectation of big flows coming in, etc., do you see a significant appreciation to the rupee from here on? And or do you think that at some level the RBI would sort of step in and stem this appreciation?
No, I don't want to talk about the value of rupee. Whether it should go up or go down. It unnecessarily affect the markets. But what I can honestly say at the moment is that we have the facility, and we have done rather well in doing what we want to do in terms of the exchange rate management. Under the very difficult circumstances also, like the Asian crisis, we were able to manage it. So the main opportunity that we have now is to make sure that there is confidence in the value of the rupee, that the rate that we have is a competitive rate and is a good rate to promote exports and to make sure that our real effective exchange rate, or whatever the economists call it, is reasonable. And that can be done. There is nothing to stop us from doing it now. And we have done very well, by the way, in the last 1 or 2 months. So we can continue to do that. Yeah.
What's going to be the biggest challenge before the RBI governor, sir? Does it change now from inflation and deficit control to controlling to the rupee on the other side, really?
No, inflation remains a problem. If you have seen, the WPI has come down, but the CPI is still a matter of concern. And if your focus is on CPI, and then there is a challenge, and we have to take that into account. And at the same time, but I think this trade-off between what you might say the management of the exchange rate and the management of inflation is always there. And fortunately for us, at the moment, we have the facility to do what we want to do, and without damaging the growth prospects, or without damaging the supply of money for creative assets.
By the way,
so that's the main challenge before the RBI.
Sure, sir.
Let's come back to tackling inflation, getting the rupee right, and so the fear is that there could be some dissonance between what the RBI thinks now and what the new government thinks. This is a common story. Do you see it aggravating now?
Who are you asking this question?
Mr. Jalan, you, as a former RBI governor, yes.
Oh, you, okay. No, okay. No, I think the most important what you might say, the connectivity between government and RBI is extremely important in a democracy like ours. You may have different roles, as different ministries have different roles. So, and we want RBI to be able to take difficult decisions in the country's interest, but this has to be done in consultation with the government. And the government's main priority has to be that whatever is good for the country's economic stability, financial stability, combined with credit availability, which is the responsibility of the RBI, has to be supported. So I don't see that as a problem, irrespective of which government is in power, and that can be done. And absolutely, and I'm sure that this will happen, and let's hope that there is no conflict of interests, that our priorities are the same. We want inflation to be controlled, and we want growth to be pushed up.
Mr. Jalan, thank you so much for joining us.